Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the secrets of healing yourself. Now there are certain words and terms that I have to stay away from so that the YouTube police don't flag me and then all of a sudden I'm buried behind or underneath some algorithm where nobody ever finds these secrets like the Holy Grail. But we are going to try to go over a lot of these ideas and these concepts and let you know that you can start your healing journey and you can start to get back to feeling normal and wanting to be your normal self and be around your friends and your family and start to have your energy back. I recently wrote an ebook called Peace Healers, and the idea is that the body has its own self-healing mechanism, and once you cure the self-healing mechanism will cure everything else, or will get you back to where you need to be. Again, I need to be careful saying words like cured and healed and recovery. It's a mad world, but it's kind of funny. Everything has to be according to the way the establishment would want you to have it, which means taking the pharmaceutical medicines approved by the FDA and the AMA, which a lot of us already know only mask symptoms and a lot of times just create worse adverse effects or addictions. I mean, we're seeing just a terrible opiate addiction epidemic here in the States. And it might be across the world. I don't really know enough about what's going on outside of the country, but certainly here in the Midwest, we have a really bad opiate problem. But moving on, certainly want to talk to you about the book. The book talks to you about how you heal the self-healing mechanism and how you get back on the road to Wellville. I studied the body significantly for the last 10 years. I myself got a severe illness. I don't want to say exactly what it was because again, I might get flagged, but it was serious. It was terminal, and I took on the naturopathic modality to heal myself, and I got better and I got through it. So I wrote this ebook to get other people who have tried other modalities or don't even want to try the other modalities and know that nature's way is the best way to do it. I can't say enough to the healer that helped me get on the right track. It was a very difficult start for me. I was doing what the Western doctors were telling me to do because I did believe in the philosophy at first, but I wasn't getting any better. So, you have to, get yourself to a point where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? And you want to take over for yourself because in the end, we're our own best doctors. So the concept is simple. Obviously, you have to get the toxins out of your body that have been built up over the years, whether it's from pollution, allergens, diets, medications, you name it. The drugs we might have done as teenagers into adults, nobody's perfect. And then get the right molecules in the body to start to heal the system. I think from my research that it's an endocrine breakdown, that the endocrine system has some kind of failure, whether it's the pituitary gland, the adrenals, even the kidney could be failing. And when that starts to happen, this is what kind of filters all the toxins and stuff through the lymphatic system and gets it out. And we start to see these endocrine failures, and then we start to see the toxins start to kind of layer up, almost creating like its own little wasteland, its own little backup in the sewage system of our body that's supposed to clean us out. And then on top of that, we are eating a very protein-heavy diet. And I don't want to get too specific, but in the Krebs cycle, also known as the citric acid cycle, we process these proteins and these sugars and these amino acids to create ATP, right? Adenosine triphosphate. And these are the batteries that give us energy. But we only need a certain amount, and it stores the excess proteins and amino acids as citric acid. And when you have too much citric acid, you get acidosis, right? Especially when you have this glandular failure. You are not processing out these acids, these toxins, these allergens, these pollutants. And acidosis creates inflammation. And inflammation, we know, is what creates all chronic problems. Then on top of that, with this heavy protein diet, we are building up a lot of insulin. And when we build up a lot of insulin when we're eating, all of our neurotransmitters are developed in our belly. And when we have a lot of insulin, we're releasing more fight, flight, and freeze neurotransmitters like epinephrine, cortisol, adrenaline. Some of these might be hormones as well. And we're not releasing the more resting, relaxing, repairing neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, GABA. GABA to me is the most important because that helps you sleep. And when you're sleeping properly, you go through 6 cycles of REM. When you go through these 6 cycles of REM, you go through a process called lipolysis. That's a kind of breaks down into a Greek term, just means breaking down of the lipids, breaking down of your fat cells. And the lipids hold all the toxins. So when you're going through this process called lipolysis, you're breaking down the lipids, and then your toxins can get free. And then when you wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, whether you urinate or defecate, or you're releasing these toxins. There's actually an acronym that talks about the 5 different ways to get these toxins out of your body, and that's called BULLS, which is bowels, urine, liver, lungs, and skin. And skin is your largest organ, also considered your 3rd kidney. So it's also important to sweat. But so there's so many, layers of this kind of breaking down of our system that we don't even realize we're doing it, and we're doing it over years, right? Just kind of constantly heavy protein diet to, not resting properly, to building up the acidosis, to stress, depression, anxiety, building up this, kind of wall that starts to kind of beat down the endocrine system, whether it's adrenal fatigue or hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, renal failure, you name it. It's or a combination of all of them that starts to wear us down. And then something usually, and it looks like what's happened recently is with this COVID, we've seen people go right from COVID to either some form of long COVID or going right into, and I mean, I have a lot of people that I've already worked with who've gone into having lymphedema, or Crohn's or fibromyalgia. That's actually when my illness started, was after the COVID. And it was very painful. It was a very difficult process. And that's why I put this book together, and I am also offering plans where I will work with you, I'll coach with you, and I'll consult with you through this process, because it was very difficult to do it by myself. I did do it by myself, and it was painful, and it was lonely, and there were some dark moments, because it's you're doing it naturally, so there's not a lot to mask the pain. But again, on the other side of this, there's no adverse effects. I mean, I feel like I look better now than I looked when I was younger. I mean, just from eating so pure and getting all these toxins out. And even on the other side of it, I still, even though I've gone back to eating somewhat, I'm going to say irresponsible, but, you know, and that's the other thing about this is, you know, you don't have to do this regimen forever, right? There is, you know, a lot that goes to it that requires a lot of discipline, because you're giving up, you know, what we're so used to doing our whole life, you know, having the hamburgers and the pizzas and going out and having a couple beers or having a cocktail with dinner. I mean, all these things need to kind of be put on hold till you get to feeling better. Your body needs to kind of go through a cleansing process. It's kind of like a filter change, oil filter change, or oil change for the body. But once you get through it, you know, you can start going back. I mean, I have a couple beers a week now, maybe a little bit more than that. Certainly have a slice of pizza once in a while, you know, in moderation. But I really don't desire it that much, right? It's not that important to me. I mean, it's been a whole consciousness shift for me, as far as really kind of understanding my journey, understanding humanity, understanding the planet, the universe. It's been a very interesting journey / process to get me here, and I'm glad that I went through it. I'm glad that I can offer this process to the world, to humanity. And, you know, if it is a situation where you are ready to take on your own healing, your own health, you're tired of not feeling yourself, being fatigued, being on all these medicines that don't seem to be getting you anywhere, and want to get back to who you were when you were a teenager or a young adult, or even if you're sick as a young adult or a teenager. I mean, yeah, there's some people who are struggling there too. This applies to everybody. Everybody can get onto this, and there isn't anybody that I know who hasn't done this process, who hasn't done this journey legitimately, because it's definitely a religion. It's a lifestyle change. You've got to really put in the time and do these things, but that have not come through the other side healthy. And even worst case scenario, you're still going to be 100% better than you were before going in. And that's what's exciting about this opportunity. It is, you know, just a great chance to give your body kind of its second chapter in life, right? To create this new skin, this new cellular formation, and that's really what it feels like. I mean, I feel like I don't even look like the same person anymore. I certainly don't feel like the same person anymore. I'm you know, it's pretty impressive, the energy level, because I was very tired for a lot of the time, even before I got sick, you know. And I mean, a lot of the sickness was probably already inside me. At least that's what the allopathic doctors think, and I think they're right. You know, I grew up as a contractor, carpenter, and put myself in some very toxic situations. I've you know, certainly inhaled some bad things, and the COVID certainly broke down the endocrine system, and, you know, kind of was glandular fatigue, and then that kicked in this very terminal problem. But yeah, it's I can't be thankful enough for this being introduced to me. And, you know, it was during this time that because, I mean, as much as people love you, and I do have a great network of friends, there's not a lot of people want to hang out with you when you're really that ill, and I was quite ill. So I took all that time, because I definitely am on the spectrum of Asperger's. I just studied every day about how these things worked on a natural basis, and the more I read, the more that it legitimized itself. So I am legitimately an orthomolecular naturopath at this point and have a pretty firm grasp on how all this works. And I think it just is very helpful to have the ebook, to have me there to coach you, to know what to expect. Certainly, even when things start to come down the pike and start to kind of rear their ugly head through the process, you have me here to kind of let you know that it's okay, and these are things that are going to happen along the way. And it's also important to, before you do this journey, if you choose to do this journey, is to get your lab work done, make sure your all your levels are where they need to be, as best they can, even though there's going to be some stuff that's wrong while you're sick, right? And I just recently got my lab work done, and very impressed to see. I mean, the practitioner, she was very impressed, because I'm an older gentleman, and she was like, "You got the blood of a 20-year-old or so." I mean, I've done a lot to get back to normal, and I'm ready to help other people get back to normal. So, with that in mind, the website, which is on the screen, I'm sure at this point, is called peacehealers.com. The book is called Peace Healers. I call it Peace Healers because I believe that's the self-healing mechanism. It is the peace healer, because even if it's a physical malady, or let me rephrase that, even if you have a psychological or emotional or spiritual malady, you fixed the physical malady, this endocrine system, it will cure all these other maladies. It just seems to go into order as getting everything kind of in line and in check. I've seen so many people who have depression and anxiety, and they've gone through this process because they've had other things connected to it, other more of a physical malady, then fix the physical malady, and their depression went away, their anxiety went away, their stress went away. So it's everything. It's a wholesome, holistic way to get you back to just enjoying life and being happy. Anyway, I think I've said enough. Please visit the site. There's a small video on there as well that kind of tells you a little bit about the process. There's a Learn More page. You can go there, or there is basically the plans page, and you can go and you can look at the plans, and you can see what you might want to sign up for to start your journey to getting healthy again. Thank you for your time, and have a good day.